For decades, the colossal Moai statues of Easter Island have captivated archaeologists and the public alike. The mystery surrounding their creation and transportation has fueled numerous theories, each vying to explain this engineering feat. In 2011, a seemingly fantastical theory emerged from North America. Two professors proposed a method involving just 3 sets of ropes to walk the statues upright. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? After just 3 days of training, a team of 3 people could move a 4-meter-tall, 15-ton statue at an impressive speed of 0.5 kilometers per hour. These professors even found evidence on many statues that supported this theory. For example, the eye sockets were carved after the fact to make it easier to tie ropes, and there was a 14-degree slope on the abdomen to use gravity effectively, and so on. But wait, does this solve the ancient mystery once and for all? Not quite. Smaller statues of 4 and 5 meters could be moved this way, but what about those over 10 meters tall? Experts discovered that to move the smaller statues, the slope had to be less than 3 degrees. Anything steeper and the trick wouldn't work uphill or downhill. Plus, the paths from the quarries to the main AHU platforms on the island were full of ups and downs. In such terrain, moving statues over 10 meters tall using this method was impossible. And let's not forget about those statues with the red hats on their heads. These hats were separate from the statues. If they were moved using this method, how would they manage to put back those heavy hats? So while this method might work for transporting smaller statues, there's definitely more to the story when it comes to moving the larger ones. Professor Diamond also looked into other theories, like the one from 1955, about using a sliding board on the back to drag the statues and then gradually lifting them with stone rollers before standing them upright and putting on the hats. They actually tried this out, and it took a total of 18 days to transport and erect the statue we see in the pictures. So let's jump back to the 70s when the bellyboard theory surfaced. They figured out how to make a curved board that fit the natural shape of the belly, then used leverage with a lever to nudge the statues bit by bit. This method seemed way more practical than the backboard idea and could handle larger statues. Then, in '86, someone pitched the rope theory. With 2 sets of ropes, they could sway the statue left and right to move forward. But back then, they concluded that this method wasn't cut out for the big statues. Fast forward to '87, pollen experts made a surprising discovery. The island used to be lush with trees. So why the barrenness now? Did they chop down all the trees to transport the statues? If so, it's pretty clear they could just roll the statues on wooden logs. By '98, another idea popped up. The Eastern Islanders were skilled seafarers with top-notch star navigation tech. If there were plenty of trees, they might have used boat ramps. Picture this, a ladder made of logs, like a train track, with slide boards on the statues. Piece by piece, they could move even the largest statue like a giant canoe. Experts actually recreated this method on site. They moved a 12-ton statue 14.5 kilometers in just 5 days, from the quarry to the platform. Professor Diamond believes the boat ramp method is the most reliable. Why? Well, apart from the statues, he noticed something about the AHU platforms. These aren't just any platforms, they're massive stone structures. Each AHU stone weighs a whopping 100 tons. Obviously, these giants couldn't stroll with ropes. Boat ramps were likely their only way. But here's the kicker. There are over 300 AHU platforms and 900 statues spread over a dozen kilometers from the quarry. Think about the amount of wood needed back then. All right, let's dive into this. Professor Diamond stumbled upon a key clue while studying the island's tree roots. Easter Island was once home to a whopping 16 million palm trees, similar to those wine palms you find in Chile. These palms were massive, perfect for making ships, and their fruits were so sugary they could be brewed into some seriously strong booze. Experts speculate that when the ancient Polynesians first set foot on Easter Island, they encountered a paradise covered with palm trees that blocked the strong ocean winds. Cliff edges and treetops were teeming with millions of naive birds, never seeing humans for millions of years. So, when the islanders started grabbing birds for food, it was like taking candy from a baby. Plus, with all those palm forests came plenty of streams and ponds, with water so sweet you could practically drink it straight. Hungry? Grab a bird. Craving something sweet? Pick up palm fruit. It was paradise, pure and simple. They came from a place where life was tough, so landing on Easter Island, where everything was easy and plentiful, was a bit of a shock. They started stockpiling palm fruits, thinking they needed to save up for a rainy day. Little did they know, paradise was the real deal. Those stored fruits turned into some heavenly palm wine, sending everyone into a state of bliss. This naturally fermented palm wine, not super strong but crazy sweet, kind of like mixing Sprite with whiskey. It's the type that makes you more awake the more you drink, like those KTV drinks that get you hyped up. Professor Diamond figured this was Easter Island's heyday. The population boomed, hitting maybe 30,000 at its peak. And here's an interesting fact. Pretty much everyone over 20 had cavities, with most developing decay from age 14. Clearly, their constant consumption of sugary beverages and revelry led to this dental state. So, you get it. Easter Island, it was a paradise for partying and living the good life. Professor Dye kept on digging and uncovered the origin story of the first statue. The Polynesians were big on ancestor worship, thinking their sweet life in paradise was all thanks to their forebears. So, this top chief decides to plop down a massive ancestor statue right in his own turf. He rallies up his crew and they head to the stone quarry on the eastern side of the island to carve out this monumental piece. Before the Polynesians went all Pacific conquering mode, they left behind some serious stone gear, stuff like adzes and shoulder adzes. They were all about chiseling stone back then. These tools may have been used to craft monumental structures across the Pacific, from single canoes to the latte stone pillars in the Marianas, Tongan stone doors, and even the giant stone cities beneath non-model in Micronesia. On Easter Island, they used basalt with a hardness of 7.0 to carve the 5.5 rated volcanic rock, making the task manageable. Archaeologists on the island have found many tools, like the toki used by the ancients. The islanders still retain the skill of carving volcanic rock with these tools. Fast forward, about 70 people grinding away for half a year could chisel out a statue from the mountainside. When the chief finally popped up that ancestor statue, it was like bam! Everyone was blown away. Suddenly, this ancestor guy and his descendants became the big shots on the island. The island was divided into these 12 spots, each matched up with a star group. So the 12 chiefs were like, I'll carve a 5-meter tall ancestor. And then the next one's like, I'll do 10 meters. And it went on, each trying to outdo the other. They even threw on these snazzy red hats made of volcanic rock, like a boss symbol. Some say those hats were originally decked out with colorful feathers, showing off their royal vibe. The Moai statues stand as a testament to a bygone era, a reminder of the ingenuity and challenges faced by the ancient Easter Islanders. It's fascinating, isn't it? In that paradise, there was no need for war or violence. They settled all their competitions by creating statues. All right, that's the end of today's story. See you next time.